Hello!
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We're here today. So this was, you know, Chirrut isn't wrong when he says all is as the Force wills it.
Yep.
Because you and I were texting the other day, like, hey, we should do Palpatine for our next stream. And then I was making the thumbnail today, and I realized it was going to be episode 66. And there you go.
Couldn't have planned it that way if we did any planning in advance.
As I say, we definitely could not have planned it that way. Oh man. Are we the Yagi's pointing out that we're a dyad in YouTube apparently.
Well.
Welcome Star Wars guy, John Barry, Sin, Sarge, Django in chat, Yagi,
Calamari.
A lot of good people here, and a couple of you who I don't think have chatted yet. I hope you guys will forgive me. My voice is a little messed up today, but that's probably it's probably.
We'll hold it against you the whole time.
It's appropriate though. I can start doing. You ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Oh man.
This is a fair point though to go ahead and point out that this is going to be very spoilery. So
oh yeah.
If somehow you randomly showed up to a Star Wars YouTube channel,
yep,
talking about the Rise of Skywalker and haven't seen it yet, this is your off ramp.
Yeah, you can just beware. No, I have not recovered from my vacation because I came home from vacation and got sick, so I'm still recovering. For those of you who don't know, because I was really stealth about it because I was paranoid that it wasn't gonna happen. Last week I was at Galaxy's Edge, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have some videos coming out on that next week after I get over my back from Florida illness.
Don't you mean back from Batu?
Back from Batu illness. Batu is just ripe with problems. Apparently, just illnesses everywhere. But yeah, hey Stuart, welcome. But yeah, so with that, let's talk some Palpatine, and like obviously we're gonna talk a lot about Rise of Skywalker, but I think it would be fun to kind of recontextualize his plan, and what he ultimately was into in prequel trilogy, original trilogy, some of the tie-in material. Yes, hey Bosk, well, we're getting so close, man. We're gonna get there. To their 1K subs. But how would you say that Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine? Yeah, Bosk and I missed each other by one day. It was too bad. But would you say that Rise of Skywalker has changed how you view Palpatine in the first 6 movies at all?
I mean, yes and no. Mm-hmm. So I get it did to the extent that I thought he was dead, and he's not. But
no, he's never truly gone.
I don't feel like Rise of Skywalker tells me anything. I mean, apart from the fact that he, got it on with somebody at some point or some way or another. Like I don't think this tells me anything, but it is the Palpatine that I know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I know and love, and maybe that overstates it a little bit. But Palpatine here felt familiar to me because, the Palpatine we see is obsessed with ruling the galaxy and living forever.
Yep.
And the Palpatine that we get is still trying to do those two things.
Yep.
And so, like, I don't feel like this is different to me.
Yeah.
But is more of what I would expect from the character that we know.
Yeah, I would agree. And welcome to Second Street Marvel, from Twitter. Yeah, so to me with Palpatine, I don't think it changes my understanding of the character. Again, I think what we got, the immortality, the twisting and turning doesn't change. What I've wondered is, so we know that Palpatine wanted for sure to possess Rey at one point in the movie. Probably to possess Kylo. I don't think he says that to Kylo. But I wondered, was this actually a part of Palp's plan at any point in time, at least in the original trilogy when he had his nasty body? Like, he keeps looking for this apprentice, and like, would he have wanted Anakin as a body to possess, but then Anakin, as Vader, became more machine than man? Would he have wanted to possess Luke if Luke had struck him down? or would he have been able to? I mean, he had to have had. Actually, we don't actually know that. We don't know if was he resurrected immediately after he died in Return of the Jedi, or was he brought back eventually by the Sith cultists. But I kind of wonder if he even had that ability and if he would have wanted to earlier in the saga.
I mean, I think you can say a couple things. I think a lot of people online point to something that happens in, I think, Empire's End, that Tashu does some stuff
Mm-hmm.
as being maybe the moment where Palpatine was resurrected in some form.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly don't know that to be the case, but
Right.
I think it's also telling, though, that with Operation Cinder and the Sentinels, Palpatine was prepared for the eventuality where he would outright die.
True.
And so, like, I think that is activated because he did.
Right.
And at what point that stops being the case, we don't really know. I mean, I'm thinking about the scene in Alphabet Squadron
Yeah.
where the Imperial commander, whose name I'm forgetting right now, is like just begging the Sentinel on the bridge to tell her something.
Right.
Because he showed up and then just didn't say anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's an interesting question about whether or not or when Palpatine became interested in possessing other people or switching bodies.
Right.
And I think it's an interesting question, but a difficult one to answer, not just because, obviously we don't have anything that tells us for certain,
Mm-hmm.
but because one of the hallmarks of Palpatine's character is that he has so many different plans in the works all at once.
Yes.
And almost another hallmark of his character is that it almost doesn't seem that he has to prefer one plan over the other.
Right.
He makes so many plans that as long as one of them works, then he's fine.
Right.
And I think that's what's interesting about it to me is that even though we don't see him actively pursuing possession in other places, one, it doesn't mean that he's not.
Right.
But it exactly fits in with the idea of what his ultimate goals are.
Right. Right. I mean, we've talked about that even in our Clone Wars stream a ways back, whether or not the Jedi should have gone to the Clone Wars if he had, he was controlling both sides of the war there, and he might have had a preference on which side won. And I'd argue that he may have preferred the Republic to win just because then the infrastructure's in place. But that's different than needing the Republic to win.
Right.
And that he could have achieved his goals by the CIS winning. And you look at the original trilogy, and either Luke dies and he's exactly where he was before, or he replaces Vader with Luke and he has, in theory, a better apprentice because he's not half machine. And so I think there were people who are confused as to whether or not, did he want Rey dead? Did he want Rey possessed? And I'm like, I think he didn't care. I think,
yep.
He had this vision of Rey ruling on the throne, and so he's like, okay, well, if I kill Rey, she can't rule on the throne. And then he was like, well, if I possess Rey, then I'm really on the throne when she's on the throne. So either way, she's sitting on the throne and I win.
Right.
And he doesn't really care which of those two it is. And there's an implication. It's kind of hard to understand the dialogue. I really can't wait to watch Rise of Skywalker with subtitles. There's a couple of lines I'm still not sure I've heard correctly. But when she's telling Finn about the vision, Finn fills it in for her and says, "You saw Ren," and she doesn't say, "No, it was me." She said, "And me." I'm pretty sure. So, did she see a vision of her and Kylo ruling together, or is she seeing a simultaneous vision where either her or Ren was on the throne?
Right.
And I think that's also a possibility.
Well, and I think the vision at least is a possibility too, either because Palpatine is giving her that vision, or because like Yoda says in Empire, the future's uncertain, and so like whatever vision you're getting in the Force, like you might see multiple endings to the story all at once.
Yeah.
Because it's not set; it's still in motion. But it's just so funny to me with Palpatine though, because I feel like we see so much, like we Palpatine is absent for most of the original trilogy, which doesn't give us a lot of time to speculate on what his ultimate goals are. but when we see Palpatine, whether it's in the prequel trilogy or even through the Clone Wars, like he has so many things going at once.
Yep.
Um, it's not just the Republic versus the Confederacy. It's Maul and it's Dooku and it's grooming Anakin from childhood, even though he has Maul and he has Dooku. Like it's exploring what the world between worlds is,
Right.
while he's also creating all these alternatives to Vader in the Vader comic.
Yep.
In that first volume or two of that, like
Yep.
he's all about contingency plans, like
Yep.
literal. Well, like that's the idea of Operation Cinders. It is the contingency in case the
He
Empire
falls.
is to
Yeah.
fall. He's going to punish the rest of the galaxy for it. Like it's all about. I mean, the Death Star itself is a contingency that he doesn't know will come to fruition.
Right.
And I would think with he tells Anakin that immortality is important to him. And if it is important to him, I think it makes sense for him to have plenty of immortality contingency plans too.
Yep.
Whether it's a Vader suit, whether it's the world between worlds, whether it's cloning, whether it's the secrets of possession that he might have worked out since he was reanimated. Like we don't know when that happens, but all of those things are just possibilities there, that it makes sense that he would pursue all of them at the same time, given what we know about him.
Yeah, and you brought up, I mean, really both Vader comics. So there's the 2015 run by Gillen, and then Charles Soule's run after that. Cinder was named after Palpatine's wife, Cindy. I like that theory. And Sin asked a good question about the Vision. I want to get back to in a second. But with the Gillen comics, I might be saying his last name wrong, but there was that scientist Silo, something like that, and he was creating beings to compete with Vader that all had substitutes for the Force. So like Palpatine was a Sith, believed in the power of the dark side, but he was like, his ideology was Palpatine. Like his ideology was not the Sith should rule. Not really. He said it was, but that's because he was the Sith, right? And to me, in those comics, we see him trying to find all these other things besides the Force. And if you want to track it to, this is an idea from Legends that has not been confirmed or denied in new canon, but I think until such a time as it is unconfirmed, I think it's a safe assumption. But in Legends, it was hard to clone somebody who was Force sensitive, right? You had Joruus from the Thrawn trilogy, implications with Starkiller in Force Unleashed 2, that when you clone somebody who was Force sensitive, they became unstable. And so if Palpatine's immortality plan is cloning, and he knows that cloning the Force is difficult, you could see the Vader comic as being, a rival to Vader, but also, if Palpatine resurrects himself and he doesn't have the Force anymore, he still wants some kind of power, and how can he get that? You look at Soule's Vader run, and I still have my pet theory that the place where Vader went to was either like a dark or corrupted version of the world between worlds. That I'm not sure Vader could really get there as a dark side user, but because he's the chosen one, he can't really be like denied it either. So it's kind of like this dark shadow of the world between worlds. But Palpatine obviously wants him to find it, and even Momin does so much with possession through that whole arc. And I really got the vibe that all of that was Palpatine hoping Vader would unlock these secrets so that Palpatine could use them. And then ultimately Vader gets so upset about a vision of Padme that he shuts it down. So, we've been getting all of this Vader stuff, and we made fun of it in one of our Vader streams, of just like how much stuff is there. I think I've lost Django because he appears to be frozen. Can you guys still see me? Am I what's lost, or is Django the one that's lost here? Hold on. What is going on? 1 second. You see me? Okay. 1 second. We'll try to get Django back. You can see me, but Django's frozen. Now you can't see me at all. Jango was frozen. Okay. Yeah, he does not seem to be reestablishing the call. Ah, his internet died. Okay. Oh. In that case, we're gonna just look at me for a second until his internet comes back. Okay, so we'll just sit on me. Yeah, right. It's always that moss on a Dark Side East stream. There we go. I feel like I've said a lot about Palpatine already. If you haven't already watched my Palpatine video, but yeah. So I was saying with there was like a dark version of the World Between Worlds and in the Vader comic, and so I think it's very like on par that Palpatine would be searching out something that was immortal in that way. Django said not even yeah. So let's go through some comments while I wait to see if Django can get his internet back up. Because I know you guys were talking quite a bit. You'd like to think that so Star Wars guy a while back said you'd like to think that well there are 3 separate goals for each trilogy for Palpatine's plan. They all feed into an overarching plan. I think that's possible. The trick with Palpatine, because I saw Bosk said this at some point too, about Palpatine just kind of being brought back, is it's kind of hard to talk about because on the one hand, Palpatine wasn't involved in the trilogy from the beginning, and then on the other, he probably was. Like, I think it's my pet theory that JJ always wanted to bring Palpatine back, but didn't do it because he didn't want to force Ryan and at the time Colin Trevorrow into doing what he was gonna do. And then JJ brought him back in when he was doing his final movie. So I believe that he was both always a part of the plan, but also not always a part of the plan. But I can't really base that on anything. And so it gets difficult because I'm aware that anytime I'm talking about Palpatine, I'm recontextualizing something, right? Like, I am aware that this was not always a thing, and they're changing it back to talk about it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you can say that, but, the prequel trilogy was also not being made when the original trilogy was getting made. Like, Star Wars has always been recontextualized throughout storytelling. Clone Wars recontextualized the prequel trilogy because Ahsoka was never in Revenge of the Sith. Like, that's the big thing. So, like, I get the frustration, but it's also kind of, like, it's not that it makes it okay, it's just that Rise of Skywalker isn't the only negative factor, if that makes sense. Like, it's not the only offending party. Yagi says, you were curious about the lightning at the end. How does Palpatine get so strong? Oh, so he was attached to the machine, and he wanted Rey to kill him. End of Rise of Skywalker, you mean? So then Rey refuses to kill him, Ben shows up, and they're standing against him, and he goes to, like, torture them, and that's when he figures out, like, their life force as being a part of the dyad is so strong, and so he sucks life energy from them. So he gets so strong at the end because he's taking energy from Rey and Kylo, or from Rey and Ben, and that's why Rey and Ben are passed out on the ground, and, like, they don't really have the ability to do anything. Like, his internet is still dead, so that's fine. We'll just keep going around with this. The doorway to return, like, to Earth moment. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Star Wars guy. I think making Palpatine return was always a part of the plan, but as to how and when, which media secret trilogy was never a fixed element. Yeah, and, like, I feel like what happened was Force Awakens set up these really complicated questions. It set up who is Rey, and all of these other things, who is Snoke, where did all this stuff come from? And then Ryan decided to answer those questions in the simplest way possible so that he could tell this really, really complicated emotional story. Like, the emotional storytelling in Last Jedi is definitely stronger to me than The Rise of Skywalker. I love both films, and, like, I don't like this silly thing that's been going on in the internet where you only like one or the other. And you can like or not like any of them, but just, like, the sports rivalry camp thing that's been started has been bothering me. Django's internet died, and so I'm waiting for Django's internet to come back. But it is currently just me flying solo because his internet died. And we might redo the stream later, but I'd rather not. Oh, like an outage. Oh, his internet is down. I'll ask him what he wants to do. Because if his internet is down, we might just start this over on Thursday. But, what was I talking about? So I'm kind of sick anyway. Whoa. That's no fun. Hold on. 1 second. Let me do this. Add video capture. Nope, we're gonna do new. The Discord call timed out. Hold on. There we go. Here's me. It's sloppy, but it's done. We'll probably just, to be completely honest, we'll probably redo this on Thursday. But if you guys want to hang out for a bit, we can hang out for a bit. In chat, he's saying that there's an internet outage in his area, so Django won't be back for a few minutes, if at all. Okay, I guess Matt Smith was never actually. Yeah, Matt Smith could have been in a cut part, I suppose. Like, he could have been in something that was cut for time. Well, even in that line in Aftermath Empire's End. Yeah, let's talk at. We could. I could grab my holocrons. Boss, did you get did you buy any kind of sabers or holocrons or anything while you were there? But no, I think Palpatine, like Django was saying, always had different resurrection plans in mind. And I don't think it's that strange that he was there. I'm gonna be real honest, I'm kind of sick, so like, without Django, I'm not gonna have the brain capacity. I had a really, so that was fun when I was at Galaxy. Let's just turn this into chatting. That's what we're gonna do. I'll change the I'll change the title. Hold on. There we go. That'll update. Let me just text Django. Just can do it or later. Okay, there we go. So yeah, let's chat about that. So I got to meet Ashley Eckstein while I was there by total fluke. She was you bought the droid, but not okay. Gotcha. She was there doing a thing for Disney blogs. Like, she had her fashion line, or she was like taking pictures of that, and then yes, Palpatine did indeed restart Order 66 and to take out the stream. Yeah, so she was there taking photos for a blog, and it was kind of funny because not everyone recognizes her. Because, like, obviously there's a ton of people in Galaxy's Edge, but not everybody who goes there is a super avid fan. Like, not everyone there has watched the Clone Wars, much less knows what voice actresses for the Clone Wars look like. In fact, there were a lot of people there I talked to who were literally there just to ride Rise of the Resistance because they like riding rides. And, like, when I went to Rise of the Resistance, the family I was standing next to they told me the only Star Wars movie they'd seen was Rogue One. But they wanted to ride the ride. So, like, there were people who would walk up and see people standing there, and they'd be like, what's going on? And they wouldn't recognize her, and they'd just walk away, which was really funny. But she was taking her photos, and when she was done, she stopped and said that she would say hi to everybody. And she took pictures with everybody. She spent the most time with this group of, like, 3 little kids, which was really cute. It was nice that they got to talk. And then I got my picture with her. My mom and I got her picture with her. My mom really likes her Universe line. And then I told Ashley that I was really excited for February, and she told me it's gonna be great. So there you go. Many people have brought up how Palpatine is the focal point of the main acting villain of the third movie in each trilogy. You mentioned, yeah, that's true. I mean, Palpatine's not around really until Return of the Jedi, and like the role he even has in Empire is expanded by the special edition. Like he is not even played by Ian 85 in the original cut. Lived in Ashley, she's so nice. She was so nice. Um, like she did not have to stop and talk to anybody. She could have easily been like, "Hey guys, sorry, I'm just doing this vlog. Don't mind me," and it would have been like everybody would have understood. We got a lot of people watching, so if you were here looking for the Palpatine stream, I'm sorry. Django's internet died, and now we're just chatting. Now we're just having a conversation until I lose the ability to talk. So there you go. We'll probably do the Palpatine stream a different day. Hello, do you think Disney will release a longer director's cut, 3 hours long of Tros on DVD or boost sales? No. I don't think so. They might, but like they haven't done that for anything else. Like Attack of the Clones has a bunch of deleted scenes that everybody. Yeah, the Palpatine stream's gonna get resurrected. Is basically what's gonna happen. We'll have Operation Cinder. I'll have to delete like 3 random videos from the channel. I won't do that actually. But I don't think they will. Also, welcome, Cammy. Hope you're doing well. I think that we'll get a bunch of deleted scenes, but I think that the movie is what the movie is. What are your symptoms? I have a headache too, or sore throat too. I woke up yesterday. I was okay. I was just really lethargic. I meant to do my review for Resistance, for the record, I really like Star Wars Resistance. I won't spoil it in case not everybody in chat has watched it. Oh, welcome. Oh, did we hit 1,000 subs? According to Epic, we did. That's awesome if we did. It would be great that we hit it in the middle of a really technically challenged stream. That would be very appropriate. Yeah, so, but this morning I woke up with a sore throat and kind of a headache. I like the new episode too. Even though it seems to be Tros was too rushed. Like that is what it is. Like Colin Trevorrow left just before, yeah, he left a couple of months before Last Jedi came out. And so JJ started writing, like Red Skywalker was made in 2 years. Yeah, no, we won't spoil Resistance. I'll say that I like the episode. I meant to do my review yesterday and I was too sick. Did Ben say hold on when he scoops up Rey maybe a couple of times at the end? Could anyone hear it? He doesn't say anything. Ben's last words were ow. There's a part where it looks like he's mouthing something, so it looks like he says something, and they took his audio out. And I don't know if they did or if Adam is just emoting. Wish Disney would build a Galaxy's Edge in England. They're building one in Paris. There's not a Disney park in England though, right? So they would have to build a Disney World in England to begin with. Heck yeah! 1,000 subscribers ready with 1 million more. I might steal that line for an announcement. You know what this means, guys? Now that we hit 1,000 subscribers, this means that I finally have to read Crystal Star. So that's gonna be good. Pretty sure they're doing one in Disneyland in Paris. Ben Solo had no lines except for Ouch, was a big disappointment. I gotta be honest, like, I didn't notice it the first time I watched Rise of Skywalker, and then I was checking Twitter, and somebody was like, he literally says nothing in the last half of the film, and I'm like, oh wow, you're right, he really doesn't say anything the last half of the film. But I'm torn. Like, I really like the movie we got. Like, if we want, we can talk honestly about Tros for a little bit if you guys want. There's a lot I wish had happened, but I also really like what we got. I guess is kind of how I'd feel. My reviews were fantastic. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I've really enjoyed the movie. I am going to do stuff on more topics from Rise of Skywalker. I'm just still working out how I feel about them. But like I get it. Like I there's things I wish were different. Like I wish Ben and Ray exchanged words before he died. I wish Ben didn't die, to be honest. But I also appreciate what we got. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like, so that's my thing. Is there's definitely things in Rise of Skywalker I wish were different, and I think could have been better if the movie wasn't done in 2 years. Like like JJ rewrote the script when he got brought back on after Trevorrow left, so they made the movie um in 2 years. And I think considering it was made in 2 years, it's a pretty darn fantastic movie for how fast they made it. But there's definitely things I wish were different. But I still really love it. And that's always the hard thing to talk about because I want to talk about like, oh, I wish they would have done this or this would have been fun. But I don't know, I like what we got too. But I mean, I feel that way about the prequels. There's stuff I would change in the prequels too. But I still enjoy the prequels a lot. Yeah, I when I saw it in the theaters for the first time, I couldn't even be sad in that moment. You can ask my friend I saw it with. I was literally screaming, "Don't you dare! Don't you dare!" Like as he started fading away, I was like, "Don't you dare!" But I was saying things more people needed to die. I can see that too. I mean, like I feel like the other characters who died were people like Snap died. I think that bothered some people. I didn't really care. I didn't pick up that he died the first time I watched it, actually. Dark Empire mixed with the Legacy of the Force and the Glove of Darth Vader to a certain point. I mean, yeah, it's pretty wild. Which Ben's death wasn't teased twice before it actually happened. That's fair. Especially because the movie had kind of undone both Chewie's death and 3PO's reset. So I think both of those moments, like, I think Chewie, I'm glad Chewie didn't die. And I'm glad 3PO got his memory back. And so like them individually as characters, I think that was good for them. But both of those things I think take away from Ben. If that makes sense. Like I think they did the best they could for Chewie and the best they did for 3PO, but because of how it happened, it took away from Ben's storyline. I don't know if that makes sense. Nobody ever dies in Star Wars anymore. They keep coming back. This is true. That's pretty valid. No one has ever really gone. Except for Shmi. Shmi's really gone. Tros is very space raideries. Yes. Lots of people think Ben didn't actually die, but because he faded away, I think it's a done deal. Ben is one with the Force. But like yes, but I think there's more to it than that. Like, yeah, Ben is one with the Force, but so is Luke, and Luke can come back as a Force ghost. And we saw Obi-Wan and Yoda come back as a Force ghost, and they all did the same thing. So I think it's a semantics thing. I think that Ben is dead. And I don't think they're going to resurrect Ben corporally into a body. That's a thing that Sith would want. I don't think it's a thing a Jedi would want. And so I think Ben is staying as he is. That said, I do think he will continue to communicate with Rey. I think like, if I were to just have one ask out of the Rise of Skywalker in a way that would not fundamentally change what happened, is I wish Ben was with Luke and Leia on Tatooine at the end. And I think that one little thing could have helped a lot of people. But I also get it because they were there because she was wearing their sabers. Like, I get it. I just think if there was one tiny thing that could fundamentally alter the ending, I think that would be what it is. Yeah, I know. I was so worried when I thought Chewie was dead. Missed some things here. Just to give it a bit more weight, Finn or Poe should have died, saving someone else. I mean, they're just the other ones that have been teased. Well, Finn's death was teased last movie. But I'm just really glad we got Force sensitive Finn. Like, I'm really glad that Finn didn't die. And if Poe died, then I mean, he's like the heir to the Resistance for Leia. So like, he is supposed to stay, and Finn's supposed to stay. Like, Finn, Poe, and Rey are supposed to be the ones that rebuild the galaxy now. So like, I can see them having some weight, but they're really the ones that are supposed to carry on with the story. So I don't know. I think it only bothered people because Wedge was. Yeah, and like a lot of people are like, this movie didn't have the emotional weight because Wedge doesn't even care that his son-in-law died. I'm like, yeah, but like he doesn't know, or not son-in-law, his stepson. He doesn't know that Snap died. Like he's not cruelly happy. And if you haven't read the books, you don't care. And if you have read the books, then you can just kind of figure it out from there. I lost my place. In this canon, I feel like the idea of Lando, Chewie, R2, and 3PO sticking together until Lando dies. Yeah, I could see them all hanging out. Yes, Ben can come back to Force Ghost, but not back. Yeah, and Ben's not gonna. I don't think he'll come back to life per se. I think he's like, because the Jedi are way more about accepting like what the Force wills and what happens, and to some extent, I think that Ben resurrecting Rey was probably even playing with the rules a little bit. And I think he kind of is where he is. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Is that a Django?
It is.
Hold on. What? You were calling me back. Oh, on my phone and my Discord is still ringing. Hold on. Let's bring this back, guys. So we've just been talking about anything we felt like talking about. We got off the topic of Palpatine entirely. We've talked about other things in The Rise of Skywalker. We've talked about Galaxy's Edge. For some reason, the call is not showing me anything. Hold on. Let me leave the call and come back. This is going to be fun, guys. I promise. Oh. Okay. For a second, I thought OBS crashed, and I got really worried. It didn't. Django! Okay, are you there?
I am.
I just don't, there's no me for some reason. But that's okay. People have been looking at me for like 20 minutes. They can look at you now.
Oh, that's comforting.
There's you, and I'm currently on Exegol, and my signal's not great. So there you go.
Did you use the holocrons you bought at Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah, I did. To find my way back. Yep. You gotta get you the other one, so you can, because there's 2 wayfinders. Wow, we have so much chatting. So at this point, we've been going 40 minutes. Do you want to just continue having, I mean, since I'm just a dark abyss anyway, you want to just continue having a just chatting stream, and then we can try the Palpatine one again later?
I mean, I'm fine with that.
We can call on Thursday, we'll call it Streamcast the Final Order.
Oh, Yagi asked, do you have your camera active in OBS? That's a good question.
Because I thought I turned it off, and I thought that's why I restarted the Discord call. Hold on, let me try this. I turned it off, like I hid the element. Hold on.
Hello there.
Oh, hey, we got a subscriber. That's cool.
Hey, I see you.
And it worked. Yay, okay. I just deleted the video capture and rejoined the call, so there you go. And we got a subscriber.
And we, in the middle of all this, a subscriber.
We hit 1,000 subs, actually. Somebody pointed out on the stream. So in the middle of one of the most classic, technically written streams to date. This, I mean, really, this is only appropriate because this is what happens around here.
Yep. Oh, but
what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
It was just funny because we were talking about the holocrons, and the default voice for the holocron is Obi-Wan, and then I heard Obi-Wan say hello there, and I'm like, did I turn my holocron on from across the room?
Do you actually have the Force?
What happened? Olga, welcome! You're afraid Chewie would die and the Falcon would get destroyed. Thank God they made it. I know, I was like, you wanted to live if he was redeemed. Yeah. And like, sounds incredible. Oh, Yoda Bauer. I can see that. I mean, it is a German. Bauer is German. As I've been told by a lot of people who assume that Bauer is my real last name and assume I'm German. I mean, I am German, but my last name is not Bauer. Yeah, we're just gonna keep shooting the breeze because why the heck
Work for me.
not? We were talking about I was rather than like the kind of Rise of Skywalker discussion we had before, like on our streamcast. I was just kind of talking a little bit more about how like there are things about Yagi. So many surprises. I was talking about how like you and I both really love the movie, but I definitely have things about the movie I would still change. Like it's not like this movie did everything for me exactly how I wanted it, but I'm not
Yeah.
upset with what we got either. And I think that's kind of the difference with a lot of Rise of Skywalker discussion
Mm-hmm.
is I think you can look at any of the Star Wars movies and there would be little things I might wish were different, but that doesn't keep me from liking them.
Well, my big plan to fix the prequels, when that's what everybody wanted to do, was fix the prequels,
Mhm.
was to combine Qui-Gon and Dooku, two characters that I both love very much, into one. I always thought it would have been more effective for Obi-Wan's master to be the one that, left the Republic for political reasons and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I just mostly I want now every movie to just be a straight adaptation of I'm blanking on the name of it. I'm the worst fan ever.
Jedi
The Dark Rendezvous.
Dark
Dark
Rendezvous.
Rendezvous. Yeah. I just want a Dark Rendezvous. I want like 9 Dark Rendezvous movies.
I
Like
want
just
I want
each with a different director.
I want Kevin Scott to rewrite Dark Rendezvous. That's what I want.
I want Kevin Scott to read Dark Rendezvous
Yeah,
because he
right.
says he hasn't.
But Kevin, read this, please. Please read this. Maybe I'm holding out that he hasn't on purpose because that means he's gonna write Yoda. Also, welcome Four Leaf Clover. How's it going? We're still talking about Palpatine, but we're going way less formal than we were doing because we had a bunch of technical problems. But Palpatine was made to be too powerful, like a supervillain from Marvel. Also, hello. Um, I mean, I feel like Palpatine was always pretty powerful though. I mean,
Yeah.
they amped up how he looked for sure. Like he was always kind of like scary, and now he's just like a giant battery. Um, but I feel like the villain was always going to be kind of crazy. But I don't know. I don't know. The only thing you would desperately add to Tros is that 20-second Palpatine broadcast from Fortnite. I actually looked up a video of what that was just this morning on Fortnite. The opening black screen and Lucasfilm logo. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing too with movies is you can go, man, I really would have liked that 20 seconds of the Palpatine message, or I really like this 20 seconds where we can actually see that Kylo is at Vader's castle, or I really like this 20 seconds where, and like it sounds like it's just 20 seconds until you have about 10 different 20 seconds, and that's a couple of minutes, and
Right.
that doesn't feel like a lot, but little things can really throw off pacing. And you had this movie was so exposition heavy, at least in the first 20 minutes. And there's so much to take in. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, that is the broadcast that was referenced by the crawl. I agree that it would have helped set the tone much better. Yeah, I mean the crawl had me because it was just like the dead speak. I was like, what the frick? What is going on? I was freaking out, and I don't know. I liked it. I mean, I freaked out during the Force Awakens trailer too, when the first line, "Luke Skywalker has vanished." I was like, "What does that mean?" Luke, what? But yeah, that was
See, my
that was
favorite crawl will always be Revenge of the Sith when it just starts out war.
war, war,
In the stars, there's war.
war. There are heroes on both sides. Evil is everywhere. Oh man. Yeah, I mean his lightning. Uh-oh. I think we lost Django again. Django, come back. There you are.
I'm here.
I
Can
was
you hear me?
I was afraid. I got afraid that it was gonna be what happened all over again. I mean, his lightning was crazy when he was like zapping all the ships. I mean, that's valid. That's definitely way more power than we'd seen him have in any of the other movies.
I mean, but it's also, I think, fair to say that we may not have seen the full extent of his power in any of the other movies
That's fair.
because he didn't need to. But like because well, I'm gonna save more of our talks for Palpatine too, but like physically, in terms of like the power of ships and fleets, like he didn't necessarily need to exercise that type of power, but he also could have developed it in whatever amount of time since he came back to life too. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, and at that point too, he's charged by the dyad.
right.
Um,
Do I think there'll be a longer version of Tros when the DVD's released? No, I don't think so.
there's rumors of a much longer cut of the film that got cut down by the studio.
Oh, I'm sure there is one. I don't anticipate a director's cut. I mean, we've never gotten one before. I don't know why we would get one
This
of
time.
this film on its own. I mean, especially when there are so many people. Like, if they really wanted to re-release, like to release new things to boost sales, they would release the original edits of the original trilogy as a separate thing and let people buy it. And they haven't done that. So,
Hey, thank you for dropping by Second Street Marvel. Thank you for hanging out with us during this very odd stream. And yeah, we're excited. We can, once we're safely over 1K, we'll apply for that whole partnership thing.
And I think they're also going to be content with whatever else was in the film that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Letting that exist in books or comics or whatever else
and just
might happen.
Getting us deleted scenes. I mean, like, if you read, because I remember when Rogue One came out, people were really disappointed because including myself, because there are no real deleted scenes for Rogue One. And what happened was, I named this Just Chatting. I suppose I should rename this Just Chatting Tros spoilers. Although, again, I feel like you should know better if you're coming to a Star Wars YouTube account by now. But that's okay. But with Rogue One, there were no deleted scenes released because there weren't like true deleted scenes like there were for the other films, because they literally just did alternate takes. Like, everything I read about that movie, it sounded like there were 4 or 5 possible Rogue Ones, and they were completely assembling and reassembling the movie. I mean, Rogue One trailers, more so than any other Star Wars trailer, had unused footage, which is why we're robbed of that shot of Krennic walking on the beach in his cape. Never forgive not having more Krennic content of him strutting around in a cape. Dang it. But I think that would be, or I mean, like, we never got like an alternate cut of Rogue One just for funsies, so I don't know.
And Star Wars Guy says that there are loads of director's cuts that we called special editions.
That's
I mean, and that's true, but like with the addition of like the Han and Jabba scene in A New Hope, like none of those changes entailed like the addition of whole extra scenes, or like, especially like I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about, a whole Rose story that was cut from this, and that might have been the case, but I mean, one, that doesn't necessarily mean those things are finished. Like, just because the footage was there or it was in the script originally doesn't mean that it's, at a place where it could be released, and it may not be financially feasible to like completely finish it. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to the deleted scenes we get, and then you have Ray Carson's novelization.
I'm really hoping that there's a commentary, like there are several commentary tracks over Rise of Skywalker 2. That was something I would enjoy as a bonus feature. I mean, because we can talk about this more when we pick up the Palpatine conversation too.
Yeah.
Because I really think, and I think we're both on the same page about this, that Palpatine was in the mix from the beginning. Palpatine, like there are clues in Aftermath.
Yep.
And I think, we're originally going to have 3 different films with 3 different directors, but if the plan had been JJ the whole time, I think that
we would have had Palpatine. I agree.
Yeah.
My one kind of wonder, I think we would have had Palpatine the whole time with JJ. Either JJ doing all 3 or knowing he was coming back after Ryan sooner. And which case Ryan probably would have had a few more constrictions on the story he had to tell. Even though not that much, because I personally don't think Rise of Skywalker undoes Last Jedi as much as a lot of people think it does.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I think that what I want to know is I think Palpatine would have always been there, but I was wondering if the dyad wouldn't have been Rey and Kylo as cousins, and that
Mm-hmm.
that's something he changed because Last Jedi. Because like even I know, I mean obviously I'm more Reylo than I'm not. I've never really felt like I'm really in the Reylo camp, and I haven't really wanted to stake claim to something I'm not. But I wanted them to have a relationship after Last Jedi. And that's where I thought Last Jedi was taking it. Like they were taking it more, even if you don't think, regardless of whether or not you thought they were meant for each other and they were going to end up together forever, or you thought that they just had some sort of bond that they were figuring it out, it was not familial in Last Jedi at all. I think that's one thing
Mm-hmm.
that's really safe to say. So I kind of wonder if JJ knew he was coming back, if in his mind Rey was always supposed to be Luke's daughter, because the dyad I think would have made a little bit more sense that way. But I say
Mm-hmm.
that because that was also my first theory coming out of Force Awakens. So maybe that's just my own bias and I'm projecting. And then Ryan did what he did, and then JJ didn't change what Ryan did, kept the relationship between them, and made Rey a Palpatine so that the dyad could still work. So that's my kind of question is I believe Palpatine was always coming back, but when was Rey a Palpatine in terms of in JJ's mind?
Right. I mean, those are things that I want to know, but we may never
Never
know
know.
because,
Yeah.
like, as much as George says that he had, the basics of the original trilogy sketched out in advance, I don't believe that.
Right.
Like, I don't believe he didn't make substantial changes after each film to what was
Yeah.
going to happen in the next. So, like, and then those are not necessarily stories we're entitled to as much as we might um, want to know them.
Right.
Um, and I want more information on the diet too, as Four Leaf says. I want to go back, and I wonder if anybody has gone back to Master and Apprentice and
Yeah.
seen if any of those prophecies that are dropped in there have anything that might. I mean, because we know that some of those Claudia just made up, and some of those she
Yeah.
made
Right.
up with certain things in mind,
Yeah.
and I wonder if, like, I don't think they would have told her in advance,
Right.
hey, these two people are going to be a dyad in the Force, and that's how Tross is going to work.
I mean,
Because
I would
I don't know
tell
what stage of production Tross was at, but
I would tell Claudia Gray anything she wants, to be
oh, I would too. But I think it could also
honest.
be possible that the story group said, "Hey,
Yeah.
put this random
Yeah.
6-word thing in here that's not going to mean anything." But I've not gone back and looked at it, so I don't know the answer to that
No,
myself.
I get that too.
Um,
Um, everybody's fine. There are many similarities, and like I mean, I have a video on the channel I made like a year and a half ago, talking about how I thought Ray and Ben were gonna represent kind of like a new stage in the Force,
mhm.
and I think that's what a lot of people thought. And that kind of goes into part of why I wish he lived, but I still really like I can both prefer he would have lived, and for that it's less of a thematic wish and more of a I just wanted more Ben Solo content.
Mm,
And there's a difference between that, but I do like what they did because Anakin fell to the dark side because he selfishly would kill anyone in the galaxy to save Padme. And then Ben died because he selflessly gave himself for Rey.
right.
And I like that Ben literally did the thing his grandfather started and never could do. Even if
Right.
he didn't know that that's what he was going to be fulfilling at the time. So like that's one of those things where it's like I wish it was different, but I also don't hate what we got. Is kind of how I feel
Yeah.
about it.
And Star Wars guy and Cammy are talking in chat about whether or not we should have had Force ghosts instead of voices at the at
Yeah.
that moment in the film, and I can see, like, I wanted more than anything an Anakin Skywalker appearance in this film, and I wanted it something
Yep.
I could see and not just something I could hear.
Yep.
But the more I think about it, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the criticism of Hayden Christensen's appearance now in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Like, oh, he's showing up in this form that I never knew you as.
Right.
It's if all these ghosts had been there, Ray literally would not have known who any of them were except for Luke. And so, like, I think those are there Like she's hearing voices, she doesn't necessarily know who those voices are,
Mhm.
and it might have looked cool visually for us, but I don't think it's any different for her in the moment.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow, so many people here right now for our really wonderful, not technically plagued stream. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
guys are all here for this.
This is non-canonical. This is episode 65 and a half now.
Right, exactly. Oh man. Yeah. Sorry, I keep coughing in everybody's ear. I apologize. For me with the Force Ghost, I wanted to see Anakin. I get why we didn't. I would just like to believe that we didn't see Anakin because it was what was best for the story, and not because of minimizing connections to the prequels. Like I want to
Oh, I think
believe
so too.
I would be sad if we didn't get Anakin because they didn't want to put a prequel actor in the movie. Like that would break my heart. But I'm okay with it if it was just we didn't want a cameo that overshadowed the rest of the movie, which makes sense. And like as much as I would have liked to see Anakin, I think it would have been too much to see the Force ghosts of all of the voices that we heard, and I think it being audio was so much stronger. I mean, that scene's my favorite scene in The Rise of Skywalker. The "Be with Me" scene. So I don't know. I'm bummed we didn't get Anakin. I'm bummed we didn't get Ben at the end of the movie, but I also understand it.
Well, and at the same time, we know we hear Kanan and Ahsoka,
Yeah,
neither of which we've ever seen in live action. And so,
exactly.
like, to get those ghosts rather than those voices would have either mean that those voices were cut, which I feel like would have been a greater loss at
Yep.
this point, honestly, given the connections I have to Kanan and Ahsoka.
Yep.
Or it would have been like we would not have gotten those characters at all.
Right.
Um, so
Star Wars guy says, "What are your thoughts on the nature of Palpatine's return?" So we might get into this more when we do the like Palpatine stream for real. Um, but short version, I think whatever he is, he has to be connected to that machine to
no,
be alive.
I think that's his original physical body that has been reanimated,
Mm,
and he can't survive separate from it.
yeah, I
Um,
could see that too. I mean, it probably floated out into space. I mean, like if the Death Star throne room survived, I could see like his body got scooped up by something somewhere.
right.
Um,
And I think it's interesting too because and I know Plagueis. We both have complicated thoughts about it, the novel,
yep.
and its legends now anyway. But it's interesting that if you look in the visual dictionary, it talks about how all the Sith like troops units were named after Sith lords,
Mhm.
and one of them was named after Tenebris,
Yep.
who was Plagueis's master.
Master. Yep.
And so I think about Plagueis kept. I'm forgetting the character's name, but
Oh
Tenebris
yeah,
had like another potential,
the Bith.
um, yeah, that he kept
Um,
alive
yeah.
like for decades in his little secret palace or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I can see things like that where it's like the literal physical body that has been extended, Frankenstein like.
Yeah.
Um,
Welcome
and I
to
definitely think there's some world between worlds stuff going in there.
yeah.
Four leaf.
Also welcome to Lady Divine. And yeah, I do wish they would have like on the I wish he could have said at least one thing to Rey. But I get it. Like if he held on too long after he saved her, it would be like, why did you die? Like why were you alive
Yeah.
for 5 minutes and then died? So I get
Oh.
that it had to be quick, but it would have been nice if he could have said something to her at some point. Holding on to the fact that Force Ghosts can interact with physical world on Octo. I mean, there is a whole Star Wars novel about Luke who has a Force Ghost girlfriend. I mean, it's out there, so
It's on the shelf behind me somewhere. I put it up here earlier.
it's a book that I will never forget. So I mean, if it
It's a book
happened in
we'll
Legends,
read when we get to 2,000 subscribers.
Mr. Spazworld, who hangs out with Snoke's legs. Snoke's legs is one of my favorite people on Twitter. Has a broken heart for Ben, but love that Leia's last actions were sacrificing himself. Ben learned one last Jedi lesson from his mother. Yes. See, and that's where I'm at too. I wish he was alive, but I really like what we got. Oh my gosh, there's so many things you all are saying, which is a good thing.
We'll talk about the saga of Callista Ming on another day.
Close to
Um,
me. Let's see, Qui-Gon. Yeah, that would be cool.
that
Darth.
involved possession too, as I recall.
Yeah, it did. It did. Oh yeah, so yeah, no, it's a novel called Children of the Jedi, and I just love telling people about this book. So let me tell you about this book.
It's in
There's,
Darksaber some too.
it's in Darksaber some, yeah, but in Children of the Jedi, Luke, first of all, Luke has a student she's literally described in the book as, quote, the blonde with the legs, and she has a boyfriend who's dying, and she's making a robot body for her boyfriend so she can move his force like being into the robot. And then meanwhile, Luke goes to find a super weapon that Palpatine made, and the super weapon is possessed by the force ghost of a Jedi named Callista Ming, and they fall in love, and somehow things happen, and they go on there, and they're a thing, and then Luke's hot blonde student dies, and then Callista possesses the body of Luke's hot blonde student, because that's not weird at all. And I'm pretty sure the boyfriend then dies and no one cares. And anyway, it's a terrible book is what I'm saying. And
I'm just saying, I read this book when I was like 15 or 16, and it meant a lot to me.
I read this book when I was like 16 or 17, and I was very much scarred by it for the rest of my life. But if that can happen, then they can do something with Ben Solo and Rey. That's what I'm getting at. Oh, that 3PO is passing the Turing test and Tros music on the Afterlife. Yeah, that was fun. I like everything with 3PO. It's really jarring to see Luke so broke in Last Jedi. Learned to love it. I had a similar reaction to Luke 2, and I really like Luke now because of that. Nolan, welcome. Yeah, right. Noel, that's so weird. It makes sense why Luke was on the island now. Yeah, no, that book is weird.
I mean, it's right up there. What is it? Cestus Deception,
Oh,
where you have the bounty hunter who's in love with Jango Fett, and so she's also in love with
with
every clone.
the clone of Jango Fett, and then they go to a cave where there's force sensitive eels, and they screw on a beach inside the cave, which probably has metaphorical meaning, but I don't want to think about it. And the eels think it's so beautiful that they get out of the water and like crawl around them in a circle. Look, it's weird out there, guys. It's weird. It's terrifying. Let's when we got Lost Stars, it was like the first non fundamentally disturbing sex scene in the Star Wars I'd ever read, and it was much better that way.
I mean, Crash of Fate was pretty nice too.
Crash of Fate was nice too. We have this.
Noel says, I'm surprised they didn't do a Revan where he had the ghost of the exile bonded to him. I think that's what we're going to see, honestly. I just don't think we got that explicitly in the film. I think it's going to be something along those lines, or with the World Between Worlds, that will keep Ben Solo with us for longer.
What news just dropped, Stuart? Is it on Twitter? Is it from like the main Star Wars account? Is it what's going on?
Billy Lord played young Leia in Tros. All right.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Is that the news that just dropped? This is the 1% of the EU that deserves some degree of it. Yeah. I mean, I like the Legends universe a lot. There's just some things in the Legends universe I really don't. And like, this is my thing. When people talk about Star Wars being really bad, I'm like, okay, yes, but like, it's not though.
Well, and speaking of the 1% of EU, which deserves some degree of hate, once we're solidly and certainly above 1,000 subscribers, which it looks like we might be, we're going to read and review The Crystal Star, which is uniformly hailed as the worst Legends novel of them all.
Oh man,
which is saying something.
Considering I just described 2 other books.
I don't know if Sen's still in the chat, but she doesn't want to hear my thoughts about the courtship of Princess Leia either.
That book is fun though. Like that's terrible, but it's fun. I'm not seeing anything, Stuart, unless I'm just not like on the Star Wars Twitter. It's concept art for The Mandalorian. Rise of Skywalker got some BAFTAs. Star Tours is getting a destination from the Rise of Skywalker.
I think the implication there is that the transport is going to show up as part of Lando's fleet in the Battle at Exegol.
Oh, that would be cool. I had totally positive reactions to TOG, the episode of Big Bang Theory where they all watch TV and they're all positively exhausted in their seats. No, because I don't watch the Big Bang Theory on purpose. But I'll take your word for it. That was you with The Last Jedi. Nothing major. But you Legends got so weird. Lucasfilm wanted Ben Solo's fate to be ambiguous. They have built very expensive theme parks around this trilogy, and Kylo. Yeah, and that's what's wild because even if Ben had lived in Rise of Skywalker, like you still couldn't set Galaxy's Edge after 9 because then you couldn't have Kylo there, and like the stormtroopers running around hassling you is the best part of that park. I want to see if Rey finding a way to use the world between worlds to bring Ben's physical body back instead of too much like moment. Well, and you think too, like in Rebels, Ezra had the opportunity to do that with Kanan, and he didn't.
No.
Best thing about the Legends universe is the pants article on Wikipedia. It's true.
Is that what we learned, that Star Wars doesn't have zippers?
Yep. Same minute. It dropped on Instagram. Discussing film. Okay. Discussing film. What do we got? Is it the Billy Lord thing? Because I thought we knew that. I'm very confused, Stuart. I don't think I'm finding what you want me to find. They don't have zippers. They have force snaps?
Buttons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Walked out of tears and turned to hubby and said, "What was that?" And then thought about it a solid 2 years and became obsessed with the concept of battling the force. Right? It was great. You went on the news.
It's just funny to me because I know a lot of people had that. I mean, like that was kind of your first reaction to
Wait,
The Last
hold on.
Jedi too.
Noel, wait. If you were on the new Star Tours a few days ago, were you at Hollywood Studios a few days ago? Because I was
in California.
Unless you're in California, Star Tours in California too. I was in Florida a few days ago. Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Just gonna be mad if I missed another person.
I was just gonna say, like when she was there.
Ships in the night. I was at Galaxy's Edge.
I was trying to avoid political arguments over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I got in Star Wars arguments over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I got in arguments with relatives of mine who were like, "I can't believe you like The Last Jedi," and then come to find out they'd never seen it. I'm like, okay, like I have no more interest in talking about this with you.
Like, don't like the movie, all right, but like at least see it before you decide you don't like the movie. Okay, Billy Lord played in a flashback, and nothing major was released. Oh, okay. Somebody in chat said news just dropped, so I thought it was like an announcement. I just got confused. Like I said, I'm not feeling well, so I'm easily confused. If you wonder why I keep looking off this way, it's because this is where the call is with Django. And so I want to keep looking at the call, and then I realize that it just looks like I'm staring at Django's Funko Pops, which I probably would be doing anyway.
Yeah, I put more of them on display. I realized this shelf is like way above my head now, but
you don't have to apologize.
All of my NJO and my Fate of the Jedi books on one shelf there together.
Nice.
So since we're just talking,
this is just fun.
Which characters did you get to see and talk to at Galaxy's Edge, in addition to Ashley freaking Eckstein?
Which was the craziest thing that got to happen. It was so nice. I got to have a conversation with Vi. She does not do autographs, which is too bad because I took Blackspire to see if she would sign it, but she couldn't. She picked on me for wearing a Resistance hat with my First Order backpack that I bought there. So she was fun. Ray was really cool. I didn't really get to talk to Ray, but I saw her a lot. Like, Ray would walk around and, like, tinker with different spots in the park. Ray really only seemed to talk to you if you were a kid. And, like, anytime I tried to talk to her. At one point, I was wearing my old Star Wars hat that had the Rebel logo on it, and she told me I had a nice hat, but literally she was, like, walking away. Like, you have a nice hat! And I'm like, I can talk to you if you want. But, like, I think she's, like, in character, so, like, Ray is just always busy, and, like, I don't know how to talk to people because I was raised in a desert, so she's just, like, very, like, in character. But, like, if you were little, I saw her talking to little kids all the time. And really, she was doing this thing where she was, like, repairing an X-Wing, and she was asking all these little kids, like, where do you think this part goes? And where do you think this part goes? It was really cute. I almost got walked over by Kylo. I was standing in a pathway, like, waiting for the crowd to clear, and I look over at my mother, and suddenly my mother is, like, frantically waving at me, and I'm like, what are you doing? And all of a sudden I hear, like, move along, citizen! And I turn behind me, and there's 2 stormtroopers and Kylo Ren, and I'm like, ah! And I, like, ran out of the way. It was really funny. But the stormtroopers were the best part, because they walk around, and if you're wearing, like, good guy shirts, they're like, we're gonna keep an eye on you. And if you're wearing bad guy shirts, they're like, your support is noted. And if you're, like, on your phone, they walk over, and they're like, what are you doing with that data pad? It was pretty good.
I have wondered if the stormtrooper things are pre-recorded and, like, activated in their suits somehow, because all the videos I see, it's the same things that they say, but it could just be the same things that they say.
Could be.
But I've been really interested in it because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of them that I used to listen to was like a Secrets of the Disney Park World kind of podcast. And one of the things, like, they interviewed several people who were different characters at different parks.
Yeah.
And, like, the mythos of it, like, if you press the characters, like, about the films, they're supposed to tell you that they are the real people and the films are just fictional adaptations of their real people lives.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't look exactly the same, because Daisy Ridley was hired to portray Rey, and the Rey in the park is the real Rey.
Right.
And I've just been fascinated by all that since then.
I like that kind of stuff. It's fun. I had more luck talking to, like, the shop owners and stuff. And it was funny because, like, I explained to my folks that people were going to stay in character, and they kind of got it, but never really understood it. So, like, at one point, my dad was talking to somebody there, and my dad was like, well, I better watch out, or Darth Vader will come and get me. And the guy was like, well, sir, Darth Vader's been dead for 30 years, but Kylo Ren might come after you. My dad's like, what?
Yeah.
Or, like, if you go to other parts of Disney, the name tags will say, like, I'm so-and-so, and I'm from Portland, Oregon, or I'm from Dayton, Ohio, or whatever. But you go to Galaxy's Edge, and they don't even really have name tags. And, or some do, but most don't. But they don't say where you're from. So my mom asked this one lady, oh, where are you from? And she goes, oh, Surabat Valley. And my mom's like, oh, where's that? And I look over at my mother. I'm like, well, mother, it's the valley just outside the outpost, remember? And my mom's like, oh, that's right. It was really funny. Or, like, there's a plush Yoda there, a plushie Yoda. And my mom saw it and just assumed it was baby Yoda. And then the lady was like, actually, this is a toy of Yoda. The legend of Baby Yoda, who was with the Mandalorian, happened 30 years ago. But we don't have any information about how that legend ended.
No. I think that was in one of the videos that you posted on Instagram or on Twitter.
It was good. It was fun. It was really, really fun. Yeah, I went to the Florida one. And I missed Bossk's Bounty by 1 day, which was too bad. And apparently I missed Noel, too. Dang it. That would have been fun. I did meet one friend from Twitter while I was there, though. Got a jet. Look forward to Brandon. Thank you so much. Glad to have you here, Lady Divine. I I would like to say we usually have more professional streams, but we don't. And
well,
but that's okay. It's fun. I bet they're working on Baby Yoda display at the parks. Yeah, they had some merch, but not a lot. But they got some stuff going. Some people did play along with you being a Mon Calamari. I like that. I thought of you when I did the Rise of the Resistance ride, which I won't say much about because some people want to know nothing about the ride. But there is a part of the ride you would really like because of your favorite characters. Chatting is fun. Chatting works. It's better because honestly, I wasn't gonna sound very smart today anyway, so it works out. You watch the videos, I seem so smart because I edit out all the dumb things that I actually said and only kept the smart parts. The beauty of editing. You've watched the right throughs. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
It's funny now, given that I've read the visual dictionary a couple times through, that I don't want to throw people under the bus, but there's a lot of Star Wars content out there that sounds really smart, and you realize people are just reading word for word from visual dictionaries. And I was like, oh, okay. I've seen behind the curtain now.
Yeah, so the Rise of the Resistance ride is new, so it broke down here and there. It didn't break down when I was on it, but I was on the ride, and I got to like a third of the way through, and the person who was in our group looked at me and said, "This is as far as we got last time, and the ride broke." And I was like, "That's a really fun thing to share. Thank you for sharing that. It was very appropriate to share that this is the point when the ride broke for you."
Did you say hi to Hondo for me?
I did. And that was so fun.
I appreciate that.
That was so cool. The animatronic Hondo. And that's nice because that's not something everybody would appreciate. And there's an animatronic Doc Ondar. He was cool too. And I would go into Doc Ondar's and I'd ask people if Doc was in a good mood or not, and they'd be like, I'd be like, well, I don't want to get on his list, and they're like, no, you don't want to get on his list, and it made me so happy. The Doc list was the thing. I found the wishing tree, which they conveniently do not put the branches anywhere near anything, because I was like, what if I took a ribbon and tied a ribbon to the wishing tree? Nope. It's like just out of reach. Do you think they will make Baby Yodas for the parks? Bringing Baby Yoda to life would be. It would be really cool. I'm not sure they will, because he would be he'd be 70 at that point, so he could be like toddler Yoda at that point. We don't know how he ages. Doing Rise of the Resistance on the 20th. It's good. It's really fun. The boarding pass system was okay. It's still kind of buggy. I can understand that it would be a bit hard to find an actor that looks like Adam Driver. Well, yeah, but the other actors in Ride are the characters. Like, I won't say more, but if you've watched these of the Ride, maybe they just couldn't.
Know if you meant just the Kylo in the park.
Oh, that could be.
But they have Rey in the park too, and it's not Daisy Ridley, so.
Yeah. I went down the shop. I saw a bunch of helmets, but I didn't necessarily know what they all were. I liked there was a golden Yoda bust. That was my favorite. Yes, I built a lightsaber too. What path did you do? I did protection and defense, and I did a green saber, but I bought all the other sabers. Colors too. I bought those, and I got the Jedi and Sith holocrons. So, I think Thursday I'm gonna try to do a video about my kyber crystals that I got. Because I want to do more Rise of Skywalker videos, but I want to see the movie again before I do, because at this point, I need to do, I want to do a Ben video. I might do two. I might do, like, a Kylo video and then a Ben video. And then I want to do a Dyad video. I want to do a Finn video. But, I need to see the movie again. Because all the videos I have left, I'm too afraid to do. Because I'm going to make people mad.
Yeah, I think, Cammy, it's probably just more recognizable, honestly, for people, to see Kylo in the mask as in terms of walking around. I mean, because that's what they're trying to do with the characters in the parks, not just the Star Wars characters, is make them easily recognizable as who they're supposed to be.
Do you have the saber? Yeah, you can buy custom sabers there. You can do the saber experience if you make a reservation. But you can buy what they call legacy sabers there too. So it's like you can buy Count Dooku's lightsaber, you can buy Ahsoka's lightsabers, you can buy. I think you can get Darth Maul's.
I think he wants to see it. I think that's what he's asking. Do you have it?
Oh yes, it's out of reach, but I can grab it. Noel, you got the black crystal because that's awesome. Because yeah, I'll go grab my saber. But yeah, it's like 1 in 50 of the red crystals are actually the black crystals or something like that. Let me grab my saber really quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I like the Ventress saber, Sin. The curved ones, Ventress and Dooku, are always my favorite. I really like the Ahsoka pair that they have there too. I'm looking at going over the summer, and if I were to, I would probably buy a Legacy saber instead of build my own. And I would probably get either the Ventress or the Ahsoka ones.
Ventress is cool. There it is. I don't know how well you can hear it because I have my headphone microphone on.
Oh, I can hear it.
Yes, post one in the Discord. This is mine. I could have. It had a hilt cap that matched this one that also had like a little spiky thing at the bottom, but I wanted to be able to set it down flat. But apparently, when I start playing more Jedi Fallen Order, I can find these pieces in the game and build this saber, which is gonna be cool. The frame rate makes it look all wobbly.
How many options were there for each part? Like when you're building it from the kit.
So there's 4 kits. There was Elemental Nature or something like that, Power and Control, which was Darksidey. I think Peace and Justice, and then this one is Protection and Defense. So there's 4 kits, and then each of the 4 kits, each part had 2 options. So there's 1 part, 2 parts, 3rd part, 4th part, 5th part. So each kit had 10 things in it, and there's 4 kits. So I mean, they're not that, like, conceivably someone else out there has this exact same combination. But it's still really fun to kind of get to pick your pieces. And then
could you disassemble it now if you wanted?
I could, and I have, because I took my crystal out to figure out whose I had, and I got Yoda's, which made it feel good. And then this is the Jedi hologram. So right now it doesn't have a crystal in it. This is just the default. I don't know if it's as good as the Black Series versions because I've never held the Black Series version. When Disney said they were selling lightsabers Galaxy's Edge, honestly thought they were trying to create more realistic lightsabers possible. Thought it was Futurama. Hard plastic? Yeah, it's hard plastic. You did Power and Control. You went dark side with the purple crystal. Look at you.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place.
So it goes through the whole message, and then I got the Sith one. I'm leaving the Jedi one on purpose. Sith one. I'm gonna do a video on this a little bit better, but the Sith one is Darth Bane.
We are the Sith.
Which is cool because it's Mark Hamill.
Do you know who I am?
Come on.
The Sith killed each other, victims of their own greed. But from the ashes of destruction, I was the last survivor. I chose to pass my knowledge on to only one. I created a legacy so resilient that now you come before me. Have you come to be my apprentice?
So these are the Jedi and Sith. These are both default. You can put the kyber crystals you get for the lightsaber in either of these, and they'll say different things. But the reason to get both the Jedi and the Sith one, let me see, we gotta line them up just right. There we go. So you get them to turn purple. Come on, come back. I had it for a second. I had you. I just did this last night. No. There we go.
This message is a
No!
warning
Obi-Wan, shut up.
for any surviving.
There we go. Got it. So they will turn purple if you put them near each other. And then they
Yeah.
say something different, which is why I'm trying to do this. Come on. This is why you need to be a real Jedi to do this. Come on, guys. Come on. How do you line up? Is it this way? There we go. When they're purple... Come on. Okay. Ugh, whatever. I'll do it in the real video. I don't know why this is working. Yes, I did know that Mark was Julio and Cross. Come on. Do what I want you to do. Do what I want you to do. Why won't they turn... This is no longer inner sync for anybody. Stay purple. Stay purple. Nope. Oh well. It was not meant to be.
Do they have to have the crystals in them, maybe? Or does it work without it?
I didn't do it with the crystals in them last time, so I don't know why it's not working. But yeah. No, that's just my cool new toys. But that's just a preview, like I said. I'm gonna do tomorrow. I hope to do the Resistance video that I meant to do days ago, and Thursday or Friday I'll do a holocron video.
It's been a busy few weeks.
It has been, cause you finished Fallen Order.
I did, yeah. I wanted to drag it out so that it would last longer, and then I finished it. So.
I still haven't finished it. I haven't played any more than the one stream we did, so I'm gonna do that again more. Yes, that was Julio's head.
There's still a few planets I haven't 100%ed yet, but
Gotcha. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what we got. We'll do a real Palpatine stream at some point. But thank you guys for hanging out.
Yeah, I'm glad you all stuck around for. This says that there's 21 people watching right now. We've gotten 21 likes on a stream.
That's pretty wild.
That's pretty big for us.
So we appreciate that.
If you haven't already, go ahead and like the stream while you're here. And since you're also here, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing.
We would appreciate it.
So,
all right. Drink liquids in what? Yes, I will. I promise. I will. Is this an Alex free record for attendance? Yeah, no, I think we got a little bit higher. This is high end. We don't usually make it. This is the longest we've been in the 20s. Like the longest sustained in the 20s without Alex, I would say. Do I have a favorite Clone Wars arc? The Yoda one from the Lost Missions.
I still need to watch those again. I've only seen them once.
I mean, Mortis, but except for Yoda's not in it. So the Yoda one.
Anything without the droids. There you go.
Anything with Yoda. I'm very on brand. I'm never off brand. Thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I don't understand why so many people watch us, but it's nice that you do, and we appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. We'll call it here. Thank you all.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.